Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the Hali Hewa podcast with your host Abigail Kima. This is a series where we are amplifying stories from the program called Voices for Just Climate Action. For context, VCA is made up of alliance partners and local partners, and so far we've had conversations with 3 local partners, that is Clean Cooking Association of Kenya, DocuBox and Youth for SDGs. Then we had Youth and Urbanism, and then finally we have Arid Lands Information Network. All of these organizations are our local partners who are supported by the alliance partners, and we're going to learn more about what ALIN, which we like to call them, are up to in terms of their work with the VCA program. And I'm joined today by 2 wonderful guests. We have Bob, Aston, and we have Lucy Ngandu. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to start with you, Bob. Please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, as a person and also for the VCA program.
Thank you very much, and also for the invitation. I'm Bob Aston. I work with ALIN, that's Arid Lands Information Network, part of the program team. So it's a pleasure to join you so that we can be able to discuss more today on the work that we're doing under Voices for Just Climate Action.
Asante, karibu sana. And to you, Lucy, introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Abigail, for having us. My name is Lucy Ngandu. I work with Arid Lands Information Network. Also work under VCA Mainstreaming Climate Resilience.
Amazing. So my first question to you is, how did ALIN become part of the VCA program? Yes, to you, Bob.
Thank you. So for ALIN, we are privileged that you're working with South-North. Mm-hmm. And for us, we've worked a lot on knowledge brokering in the country. And part of this was from the onset during the development of the National Climate Change Response Strategy in 2010. And when the country was developing the first National Climate Change Action Plan, for 2013-2017, we worked on the knowledge management and capacity development area of the first NCAP. And so we've been doing a lot around knowledge management, and knowledge brokering, also including the publication called Jot Africa, which is on low emission and climate change adaptation actions. So these formed part of why we've been working with SSN, because under SSN, the work that we're mainly doing is around knowledge brokering. So we're doing a lot on climate change communication. Yeah, so it's a partnership that started in 2022 and for the entire duration of VCA until next year, April. Yeah, so it's been great. It's been great just trying to amplify the work that all of us are doing under VCA.
So as you've heard, they're brokers for knowledge, brokers on knowledge anyways. And to you, Lucy, what has the partnership been like for you, at least from a personal experience, since ALIN became part of VCA? How has that experience been like for you?
So VCA has brought a lot of great experiences, a lot of sharing. We have formed a number of alliances partner to partner, and also we have been able to share ideas and just form formidable partnerships under VCA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. And like Bob said, they're part of SSN, which is South-North, one of the alliance partners. And as you've said, your work has mostly revolved around knowledge brokering, capacity building, capacity strengthening, knowledge sharing. You've talked about, policy making. And I'd say you've greatly contributed to the communications work plan for VCA, because we are coming to a close, and there's been a lot of amazing work that has happened at grassroots level from our local partners, of course with the support of the alliance partners. So take us through the communications work plan and like what we're trying to achieve even as we close.
So first, VCA, it's an advocacy program, and for advocacy, most of the time we need to document what you're doing just for evidence. Mm-hmm. And so there was a need to have a way to coordinate communication within VCA. So the process of the good thing is that the VCA at the alliance level, they have the VCA Communication Task Force. And so we felt that it's also important to have like a similar approach also at the country level. And so ALIN, through support from SSN, started the process of coming up with a communication coordinating committee, just to have like a forum organizations within VCA that can be able to coordinate the work that all of us are doing, because we almost 30 plus organizations when you combine the lands and also the partners. And so bringing together 30 plus organizations just to be able to share information, the experiences on communication, what they're doing, just to be able to amplify the work that you're doing. And so that's why it was key to have the VCA Kenya Communication Coordinating Committee. So it was a long process, just coming up with that committee. Even the partners themselves coming up with the TOR on how can we ensure that we're able to effectively work together and collaborate. So it was a long process, but eventually in 2023, the partners formed the VCA Kenya Communication Coordinating Committee, which is led by Simon Washira from Think Out. Yes, and since then, at least, we've been able to see a bit in terms of more, most of the work that you're doing, at least, are now available online. People are sharing information, and there's a lot of networking, because for knowledge brokering, there's also a lot in terms of networking. Yeah, so there's a lot that has been happening. I think for that, all of us have to be proud that at least you can see most of the VC partners actually trying just to see how can you ensure that what you are doing goes out. There's evidence, there's availability of the work that you're doing across different platforms. And so I think that's one area that all of us have really to be proud of, just seeing that we're able to all of us able to come up with, just to form a committee that can be able to coordinate the work that we're doing and also amplify the work that we're doing as VCA.
Yeah. I do appreciate what you've said, which is, you know, the importance of documentation, because if it's not documented, then it didn't happen. And I think one thing for me when I joined VCA, which is this year, I used to be so mind blown at the, you know, whenever I read reports, I'm like, there's a lot of things that are happening, you know, especially at local level, seeing just how much knowledge is penetrating at grassroots, because we always assume people don't know. So I think ALIN and of course VCA as a whole really plays a huge role in bridging that gap between, you know, this high level policy and then like trying to really simplify and engage communities, which is important. I've also, you know, been part of communications training, and I know there's been a series of them. And I'm sure there's, you know, an intention behind it, especially when we're trying to build capacity for the local organizations to know how to communicate their solutions better. So tell us more about that, Lucy.
So we've had several communications training, local community communications champions and VCA partners, and also the VCA Communication Committee on various areas, including storytelling. So these communities, local communities, and the VCA partners are able to tell their stories or their projects in their own languages in a more impactful and interesting way. Also, I have had trainings in poster making and graphical design, so they're able to represent their work in those posters and also share what they are doing. Also in videography, photography, so even using their phones, these local champions are able to take photos using their smartphones and also using the cameras. So they're being taught in the simplest way how they can document their work in videography and also in photography. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just recently came back from Kilifi, where we had the training with the local partners, and I was very inspired by some of the content that came out, even on TikTok. I think one of our local partners from Lamu, if I'm not wrong, made really interesting reels about the training, and it was literally 3 days after we finished, you know, that particular session, and it just shows how important and how also easy it can possibly be to try and communicate. And I've also loved how intentional you have been in terms of curating sessions that not only talk about communication as an abstract thing, but quite practical with, experienced photographers, experienced videographers, because these are skills that they can use way after VCA is done. And I think I'd want to also ask whether, I don't know if it's premature, but would you say you've seen any particular impact in how VCA has been in terms of how we are telling our stories from when you joined in 2022 and now?
And maybe also just to, even before that first, the work that we're also doing, we normally talk about action for climate empowerment when talking about education, training, capacity building, public participation, and also access to information. And that's the work that the partners have been doing when it comes to communication, because generally what we've been doing is around action for climate empowerment. And when you look at Kenya's National Climate Change Action Plan, both the third and even the second and also the third for 2023-2027, one of the enablers is on knowledge management and capacity development. So this is what as a VCA have been contributing to. Now, when you check the work that VCA has been doing from 2022 and you compare now, there's a lot when it comes to documentation. There's a lot that you can say it's clear evidence that we've actually improved on documentation, documenting the work that VCA is doing. Particularly, there are more videos about VCA. And also a good thing, Hali Hewa Podcast has so far done 3 podcasts about the work that the VCA partners and alliance are doing. And so you can be able to see, because one of the roles of this is to amplify what we are doing as VCA. And at least clearly it's evidence that at least in that there's now there's a change in terms of there's more information about VCA. When you go online, you'll be able to read more now about VCA. Even on the VCA website, there's more in terms of what you're doing as compared to before. But I know still it's possible you can still do better, but I know it's a process.
It's a process, yeah.
It's a process. It takes time. Like for example, when lucky enough, all these expertise are within VCA. We have DocuBox, we have Think Out, among other VCA partners. So all VCA partners alliance, all of them have come up, have different expertise, and all of them are normally willing just to share this expertise, just to support other partners. And so that's why at least for VCA, one of the things, even under communications, that it feels like a family.
True.
Yeah, because everyone is normally willing. When, for example, you want to do a video, you reach out to one of the partners who normally have expertise in video. They'll even support. They say, oh, it's okay, we can be able to do 1, 2, 3. If you want, for example, to be linked with maybe media, the VCA Kenya Communication Coordinating Committee are doing a lot in terms of that. And so that the networking aspect right now, it's really visible within VCA, and it's a good thing.
It's really a good thing. I completely agree with you when you say it's almost become a family, because you see the willingness that expertise there's willingness to offer even for free, and there's that very strong collaboration amongst the local partners, like Lucy said, which I know will also outlive the program itself. Like, I'm sure there are people who've built partnerships that will go beyond the program, which is definitely a benefit for everyone. And to Lucy, I know you also, I mean, of course, ALIN itself works very closely with, a lot of, local governments, local communities. And as Bob said, VCA is, an advocacy program. And you can definitely, I can say from where I sit, I definitely see the advocacy yielding fruit, because more people are interested, more people are engaged. So how is ALIN making sure that voices of these local communities are centered in some of the programs that you do? Maybe not specific to VCA, but some of these policy processes that you support. How does that look like?
So one of the things that ALIN does is capacity building these communities, because them engaging in advocacy means that they have to be empowered with the skills to do so. So we capacity build these local communities, especially the community communication champions, with advocacy skills, especially around social media. So these communities are able to push for policy amendments through social media. So they're able to make posters and also develop hashtags, do videos of issues affecting them, of policy areas that they want to amplify or make amendments that can also impact their work. Also, we also empower them around supporting their projects by skills. For example, helping them monitor and also implement their projects. So our that's like technical expertise, offering them technical support in implementing their programs. Yeah. We also form coalitions with other CSOs that will also help us push policy amendments. So we come together, we can say lobbying for CSOs to come together and just do push our agenda that empowers local communities.
Yeah, and I think it's very important, because at the end of the day we may be in very big conferences, but what matters is what happens on the ground that actually transforms communities. And so as we are, looking to complete the program, and I don't know what the plan is, but my question is, what is the future looking like for ALIN beyond VCA, or at least towards the end?
Yeah, so
that has come with some heaviness.
Yeah, but I think one good thing is that the work that you're doing, even through VCA on knowledge brokering, is actually contributing to some actions in Kenya's National Climate Change Action Plan 2023-2027. So really the good thing is that you can see that the work that you're doing is actually anchored in terms of implementing the National Climate Change Action Plan.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that even for us, we've been working with committees now at the ward level, because right now I think there's a lot of emphasis working committees at the ward level. And I think Lucia talked about even the communication training. And part of the communication training, even at the ward level, we've had members of the World Climate Change Planning Committees in Kilifi, Nakuru, and even in Kajiado, even being trained on communication.
Oh.
And so the World Climate Change Planning Committees are mainly comprising of community members.
Yeah.
But when you look at some of their roles, they're actually supposed to sensitize communities on climate change. They're supposed to share information. They're supposed to pass information. And the only way they can do that is, at least once they have the skills to be able to document what they're doing. Like right now, most of them will now start implementing the FLOCA program. The moment they now have the skills to document what they're doing and even share with community members, then the time you said, okay, at least VC has made an impact now beyond just the work that you're doing, because now these are not partners. And the good thing within VC is that the training that the partners have received, they're doing the same now, the community members. So even beyond VC, you'll find that most of the partners will now still continue ensuring that community members at least have the skills to document that they're doing, have the skills to share what they're doing. And so that's just beyond the VC, at least we're sure this will continue. And I'll give one good example. Last year, ALIN, through support from SSN, worked with the VCA Kenya Communication Coordinating Committee to build the capacity of VCA partners and community members from Kisumu, Siaya, and Homa Bay County. And from that training, there was one lady from Siaya who attended the training through Siaya Ngandu network. She's actually an elder lady. So after the training, later she said, okay, I'm now on Facebook. I'm able to share information on Facebook. She joined social media. She's an elder lady. She's now able to share even what she's doing in Siaya County. And so we can see that there's a huge impact. People are not, this is actually a lady, I think she's past almost 60 plus years, almost 70 years. She's now on social media. She's able to share the work that she's doing at the community level. So you can be able to see, it now goes beyond VCA or what the partners are doing. And so even beyond VCA, we know that most of this knowledge, the skills, at least most of the part have been able to impact that knowledge to the community members. And the good thing is that most of them actually work with World Climate Change Planning Committees and even other climate change champions. So, even without, once the program ends, we a lot will still continue. Yes.
I agree with you. You've talked about World Climate Change Planning Committees, and I think it's a very interesting conversation for me, at least, because I'd say this year is when I was actually now exposed to what happens at county level, and I know your work has really also quite influenced and impacted on how some of these words, like in Kajiado and in some of the counties that you work in, implement the activities. And you've also talked about something called FLOCA. So Lucy, I will ask you to just explain to our audience who probably don't know what FLOCA is and maybe the role of the WCCPs.
Yeah. So FLOCA is funding from World Bank that is directed to or given to the Kenyan government, and also through the World Climate Change Planning Committees. So in every county, at the ward level, in every ward, let me say that, in every ward there is a World Climate Change Committees.
Yeah.
So, but in the case of Kajiado, they call it World Climate Change Council. So a World Climate Change Committee is a committee that mainstreams climate change or climate action at the world level. So this, through FLOCA, the World Climate Change Committees implement the fund, or so they come up with proposals. So first they do the participatory risk assessment. So a participatory risk assessment, or PCRA, is an assessment that they do in that specific ward. So they identify the risks and the capacity of that ward to adopt those risks. So after they do the participatory risk assessment, they submit the report. Then they come together and do a proposal. So that proposal is submitted to the Department of Environment at the respective counties. So this proposal is vetted, and if approved, the funding is brought to the World Climate Change committees. So the composition of these World Climate Change committees are representatives from this ward. So as there are two representatives, mainly male and female. There are also representatives of the youth, representatives of PWDs, and also representatives from CBOs or civil society organizations in the respective wards. So currently most of the projects are either starting in January or in a few. So these World Climate Change Planning Committees are the ones who are implementing this. And ALIN has been working around these World Climate Change committees, whether empowering them to or just helping them develop these proposals that the proposals don't have to come back to them to rework. So ALIN capacity building them on developing those bankable proposals, and also in communicating their work around what they are doing and what they want to implement.
I think that's a very important thing to share with our audience, because maybe someone is really a champion at grassroots level but is not really aware of what is happening at the local level. So I think it's important, and it's important to say that we have a number of our local partners also supporting WCCPs in different counties, which some of them have been able to submit proposals, some of them are implementing, like you said, some are about to start. And I would say in some of these counties it is a direct impact of what VCA has been able to do, which is quite interesting. And maybe as we continue to publish more episodes, I'll have conversations with a lot more people who are doing the same thing. This to say VCA has made quite an impact, and I think it would be really important to capture that and document that. So we're coming to an end, and I just want to ask if there's anything you feel that maybe you want to talk about that we haven't captured. Maybe a parting shot.
First for VCA, I think we've talked about the VCA Kenya Communication Coordinating Committee. I think the committee has made a difference within VCA in terms of how we are communicating, in terms of how we are sharing information, but generally even in terms of just sharing experiences. And through that, I think it's now clear that there's a lot of expertise, even on communication within VCA. And initially, these are some of the expertise that are not being utilized. But now, at least, there's more in terms of engagement, involvement, in terms of utilizing some of the available expertise within VCA. And so these are and that's why there's been a huge impact in terms of now how you're able to communicate, because everything that you're doing still contributes to the 3 VCA outcomes, because and for communication, just to support that. And I think that has been great, seeing how as partners within VCA we'll be able to work together just to amplify the work that we are doing under VCA. I think that has been great.
And do you, Lucy, do you have anything?
It's good we recognize that there are a lot of opportunities around local climate action, just having local networks, and us as VCA having those synergizing our resources, because we have different partners have different strengths, so leveraging our strengths, just coming together, just the way we have started through the VCA Communication Committee, and also investing, is it investing more in local partnerships and local climate action. Yeah.
Amazing. So if anyone wants to know more about your work, you talked about Joto Africa, which is a very interesting publication that everyone should have a look at. Where can we find you on social media? Yeah, please share that with us.
So on social, we are on Twitter at ALIN Africa, on TikTok at ALIN, on Instagram also ALIN, and also on Facebook we are at ALIN. We also have on YouTube at ALIN. Yeah. Also our website info@alin.net.
Okay. So is that where they can get the Joto Africa publication?
So yeah, the Joto Africa publications are published on our website. Each issue. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
And also on the VCA Kenya website. I mean VCA
Yeah.
website.
Oh,
So even
yes,
if you go to
yeah.
the VCA website, you'll be able to get all the past 4 Joto Africa publication. That was issue 25, 26, 27, and also issue 28.
Amazing. I'll be sure to leave that in the description box once the episode is published. Well, it was really nice having both of you on set today. We like to keep it short and sweet so that we are able to keep our audience listening. So thank you so much. It was lovely having you. See you on the next one.
thank you.